everyone. Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils. And you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go, Devils!
What is so funny, Tim?
Bob's little quote right before it. Just the timing of it, and then it went right into the intro.
Yeah. What'd you say? I missed it.
Chris could never hit the button.
Chris just can't find the
something
button.
to that
Then right
effect.
to the intro. It is
Something to that effect.
I wish
Ask your mom, Bob.
Classic.
All right.
Classic.
Just go to,
Hey,
right to the mom.
Before we get into hockey,
Yeah.
are we going to talk about hockey today?
I think we might a little bit.
Before we get into that, I have an observation, and it all hit me at once, and I need to share this because I think it's quite odd. So, Chris, you're Italian. I've known you as long as somebody could know a friend. Very, very, very long time, right? And I have another friend who's Italian, Derek, right? Haven't known him quite as long as you, but it's going on 30 years.
Very long
time. Two big Italian men. You were talking the other day about how you are an atheist.
Yes.
Derek was explaining to me when he was here for the Metallica concert that he does not like seafood. So between two Italians, I have an atheist and one that doesn't like seafood. And I didn't know you'd ever get either of those out of an Italian. I find it very weird.
It is
Am
a
I
little
wrong?
weird.
It is.
No, I mean, personally, I love seafood, so I'm not in that
I know you
camp.
love seafood. Right.
You
picked the better of the two.
Right. I mean, it's kind of weird, like growing up, like we were raised Catholic, like my mom went to Catholic school and shit, and my father, believes and all that, and yet they managed to raise 3 atheists, which I find very odd. And it's kind of how we all kind of got there on our own. Like, it's just really hard for me to wrap my head around a magical man that lives in the sky who created the entire universe. Like, come on. I mean, I'm all about faith and spirituality and whatever anybody believes. I would never degrade somebody for how they believe. I would never make fun of or talk shit about anything that you believe to their face.
I think, I appreciate that stance in this, but let's all be very clear. We can certainly talk shit and make fun of Derek for not liking seafood. I mean, that's just not fucking right.
And is it because I've got the, no, I'm allergic to shellfish. Okay, that's again, like you're allergic. That's one thing. I have seen people eat a shrimp and blow up like a tick.
Yeah,
I get that.
It's kind of scary.
But not liking it, like just no, I don't get it.
But I mean,
is that so
much of it?
Because I didn't really like seafood until I was like in my early 20s. And then, I started with, like a tuna steak, and I was like, oh, this doesn't taste like what I thought it would. And then, I was like, I'm not ever eating sushi. Now I fucking devour sushi. So kind of progress into where I really like things. There's some really like fishy type of tasting shit that I don't really like. Like a branzino or a lot of like white fishes. I don't particularly like.
I'll eat it. Not like seafood, which covers such a broad spectrum of flavors and textures. Like salmon is nowhere near lobster. Like, it's not even in the same class. They're just from the ocean. That's about it.
You ever look at like,
pretty sure.
Like you look at a lobster, right? And
there is freshwater salmon too. Sorry.
Oh yeah, there are. But lobster itself, like, who looked at that thing and said, I'm going to eat that. I want to eat that crazy looking underwater bug that has claws that can chop a finger off, but I'm just going to kill it and somehow crack open this super hard shell and see what's inside. I just don't understand sometimes how like humans first started eating shit that
I'm better with the whole find something that walks, kill it, cook it, and you'll probably live than the unlucky bastards who are like, I'm going to try that berry.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
That's one of my favorite
try it. No,
internet jokes about like mushrooms, where it's like, well, don't eat that one because Jerry died last week. That one, Bob saw God for 2 days. This one tastes just like the cow over there.
Yeah.
Like it's like who like the progression of how that happened. Some dude had like a diarrhea and was like, this is
Well, it's got to be walked down the line, right? Old days, like you just got to go to the next village. Like somebody walks down there and says, "By the way, don't eat that one." And you had to fuck up along the way, and he's like, "Shit, it was the red one." Like,
exactly.
To be honest,
village dies.
He's dead.
what a lot of like scientists and archaeologists and stuff believe that like early hunter-gathering humans, right? They would follow the herds. So, wherever they would follow them for food, and they always knew that the herds would go to where there was water, and so they would follow them. And we know that like at some point through human history that humans' brains just went from a certain size to like 10 times the size that it was, and we don't like that's how we all kind of progressed to where we are now.
It was like from Tony to the rest of us.
Exactly.
Big leaps.
So some scientists believe that when they were following the herds, the herds take dumps as they're walking, and throughout time mushrooms grow, and of course early human they're going to eat anything they see. So if a mushroom is growing out of poop, they eat it. Well, those mushrooms that kind of grow in poop, most of them are, the psychedelic mushrooms. So they believe that could be what kind of triggered early humans to start evolving, their brains evolving from the psychedelics and the mushrooms and open their minds. There's one little problem with that, though. Like, you can't pass that along through genetics,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't, like, in other words, like if, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something like that you wouldn't be able to like pass down to like another, just because I can't think of anything right now, but like that doesn't, but throughout generations, if every generation learns something new and then teaches the others that, and then through the course you get, evolved civilization. But magic mushrooms could have been a reason why we ended up here, which is kind of cool.
I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I mean, in that thinking,
that's some real fucking deep stoner shit.
We can all go out and dose a bunch, and then like we just keep evolving the human race just by getting high. I don't know if that's.
Well, it's not so much that.
Do not do this, people.
But I mean, if you're an early human and you know nothing of how to communicate with others and stuff like that, and then if your mind opens and you realize that, I can now communicate certain things that I maybe wasn't able to earlier, and that's how language starts and how that kind of thing starts. It makes sense,
Yeah, it kind of it unlocks things.
Exactly.
I get it.
I think we should do a show on shrooms. I think that would be awesome.
On shrooms, the topic, or
no, like we should take them and then do a show.
I don't eat things that grow in poop.
That's the absolute last thing I want to do while I'm on mushrooms. Like, come on, like I want to go sit outside and like
explore,
look at the sky and pet my dog in the grass.
I'm with you. So, but we should definitely get some shrooms at some point.
There's that.
Topic.
As I said, as society devolves into absolute chaos, open invite to the farm.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna have to at some point take refuge there, because I see just shit going so bad over the next 3.5 years.
You're just gonna have to do a little bit of work. I need one of you guys to power wash the pool deck because it sucks.
Hey man, if I can camp out in your farm for a while, I will power wash whatever you need to power wash.
The pool is still a little
green,
a little swampish.
Gotcha.
You gotta cycle in the DE and the salt and the chlorine and cycle it.
That was more of a come over, jump in the pool. Now I lead the Uncle Puckers invite.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, come over whenever you want.
There's easier ways to take the lead.
Yeah.
You can have
Anyway.
You can start by doing a DraftKings ad read if you really want.
There you go.
Because the fastest game on ice just hit another gear, boys. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Final, where legends are made and every shift could turn the tide. And now with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can take every slap shot, breakaway, and overtime thriller to the next level. Here's the kicker. New customers who bet $5 will score $300 in bonus bets if your wager hits. That's right. Turn $5 into a Stanley Cup Final payout. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's promo code THPN to unlock $300 in bonus bets when your $5 bet wins, only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. That's DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. So, boys, we got a game 4 starting in about 15 minutes. Well, probably about, I don't know, half hour for puck drop. So we went through games 1 and 2. We talked a little bit about it, right? Like, wow, this is just going to be a amazing series, right? They're both so evenly matched and all the other stuff. And then game 3 happened.
Jinx the whole goddamn thing.
And I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about game 3 because to me, the Edmonton Oilers played that entire game on tilt. Florida had them on tilt. Now, anybody that plays poker, that is familiar with the phrase, basically you're playing just through emotion and not using logic. You're just playing with emotion. And that is what Edmonton, in my opinion, did. And they tried to be, I guess, as physical as Florida, not playing their game, and they got absolutely lit up. Now, I thought taking the Panthers in 5 after the first 2 games was dead. I thought it was done. There's no way that this is going 5. Now I feel like tonight is just going to be a little bit more of the same, and this might just go 5. What were you guys' opinion on game 3 and what happened?
Yeah, it's just, this series is swinging back and forth. I mean, game 4 is this is going to be the sort of linchpin game of the series. I kind of agree with you about, like, Edmonton was just not playing well from the hop. I don't know what it was, man. And I've heard people talk about the difference in the ice conditions, which certainly plays into it. The ice in Edmonton's really good. The ice in Florida's dog shit, apparently, and that favors Florida. There's a little bit of that sort of psychological warfare game that Florida plays and is just unmatched at. And it's almost like they were, they'll take a punch to fucking put 3 goals in, and there are 11 power plays, I think, for Florida. And while they didn't score at first, they eventually, you take that many penalties, it's eventually going to break through. Curious to see what the response is from Edmonton. If they have anything in the tank, I think Stuart Skinner has oddly some like outrageous game 4 numbers, like a 960 something save percentage and a 6-0, and like he's got like 4 shutouts. It's really weird. So we'll see what happens, but they can't fall into that that Florida trap of trying to out Florida. You can't do it. They need to get back to their game. They need to get back to playing with speed and pace and connectivity and not try and fall into that trap. And to be honest, that they took 3 penalties early on. One of them was like a offensive zone penalty against Evander Kane. You just can't take that penalty. You just cannot do that. And it's
Kane
because
took a couple of bad ones in the first period.
Because like Matthew Tkachuk is baiting him all series, and he and those two have been going at it. So it's like you just can't take that penalty. You need to calm down, to be cooler head, and react when the moment's appropriate. Taking in the first period, that's going to eliminate all momentum, and from taking those penalties on, and even if you don't score on the power play, you can gain a significant amount of momentum and ice tilt on it. Like we'll see what happens, but I have less confidence in the Oilers than I did going into game 3. And if you heard me predict the Oilers were going to win game 3, no, you didn't.
I think you and Bob both took the Oilers in 3. I said I don't really know as long as it goes to overtime and it's tons of fun, and it wasn't.
No, it was not. Yeah. Burn that tape, by the way. Thanks.
What do you got, B?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to point out that it's been 3 years on this podcast since the first time we've used the on-tilt analogy. So bravo to that, because it's 100% right, dude. It's absolutely like a perfect explanation for what happened. They got in their own heads. They couldn't get out. They're not getting out until they broke from that game. Like it was never going to turn around. It's one of those games that it's got its own story, and that's the way it's going to be. I am a little surprised that it would happen to Edmonton that way this late in a run. You're going to have some big blowouts once in a while, but that looked like a mismatch. If you hadn't seen the first 2 games and you saw that, I could certainly see why you think that it's just Florida all the way. I personally think that, we did say they go back and forth. That's why Tim and I picked them to win game 3. But either way, maybe they win this game 4 and it's still back and forth in that regards as far as tying the series. And I think they're going to do just that somehow. But I did pick the Oilers to pick the Oilers. And I could tell you right now, my confidence has waned in that completely. I watch Florida play and I just go, Jesus Christ.
They're so good.
Why would I even bet against them?
Relentless.
Yeah, and I mean, and every single player, like, just they know they're so good at doing everything. There's nothing that, and I said this before the series started, like, there's just no weaknesses up and down the lineup in the way that they play, and from the head coach on out to the guys sitting in the press box, like every single one of them knows their job and they do it well. Maybe Chuck Knobloch didn't have them, playing at ready for a game 3. I don't like him on the bench. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he looks. He actually looks lost out there.
I hate his face.
I don't like his stupid face. Screw you, Chuck Knobloch.
Chris,
picking the Oilers.
I've heard it both ways.
Picking the Oilers now kind of feels like, you're going to prom and like you pick the girl that will say yes and not the girl you got a crush on. Now it's like this kind of regret I have. Like, did I really want to pick the Oilers, or did it just because I didn't want Florida to repeat? And that's more likely why. But now
you're still
really doesn't look good.
You're still gonna have some fun in the hotel room though. But
Chris D says that Chuck looks like Ichabod Crane.
That's good.
He does actually. That's actually a really good. Do you have the pull
I put
chat
it on
up
now? Yeah,
here?
I just put it on.
I'm going down with the ship. I'm still think the Oilers somehow make this happen. It'll be pretty bad if they lose again. Again, if you heard me say that, no, you didn't. But I think they make it work tonight. I think Connor has a good game. And getting back to the Florida sort of relentlessness, I don't think Barkov and Tkachuk have like any points.
This has been the Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand show.
Yeah, and that's looking at the differential between like the Devils and Florida. It's like when our top guys went cold, we did not have good enough players to like step up and pull the weight that we needed them to. And Barkov can take that top line center and kind of take Connor out of the game. And then you have this Lundell, Listerine, and Marchand line that is unbelievable. And Sam Bennett's a fucking menace out there, man. Like, I love the way that guy plays. I'd take him on my team any day. I still think someone's going to wildly overpay him, and we shouldn't do that. But, man, he's just an unbelievable player right now.
I think I said in January, like, Tom Fitzgerald's main focus should be whatever you got to do, sign Sam Bennett in the offseason. Now, that was when he was projected at like $5.5–6 million a year.
Right.
I mean, now he's projected at $9.5–10 million a year. That's too rich. Like, I would much rather see Fitz go after Brad Marchand, go after the poor man, Sam Bennett.
There's a report today that people are talking about Marchand for 4 years at $8 million.
Okay, I don't want that.
And Martin Necas is now saying if he gets a contract offer with $9 million in front of it, he's going to reject that. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like the cap is going up, but like I see a problem where these GMs are going to spend like strippers or spend like sailors at a strip club, and suddenly all these teams are going to have cap problems again. So I really hope Fitz is pretty judicious.
They're all going to keep throwing it at a couple of really big fish. And then now you got the same problem in a couple of years where you're not fielding like a full team.
Yeah.
And it sucks because the agents know it too. The agents know there's more money out there. So they're going to push for more money. That's their job. I get it. And then before you know it, everybody's outpriced. And the cap going up means nothing.
And we also need
everybody
to kind of change
prices with it. Means
we also need to change the way we think about it a little bit. Like $6 million was for a certain tier of player, $4 million for a certain tier of player. Those tiers are kind of bumping up a little bit. So we may balk at like $10 million for someone, but that's really kind of 8.5, in the next couple of years.
Yeah, but still, like, I don't know. Like, you're 100% right. But like what Bob's saying too, like, I wouldn't. No matter, I don't give a fuck what the cap is. Like Marty Necas getting $10 million. No, I
No,
would not
it's
pay
just
Marty Necas
ridiculous.
$10 million. Like, it's just, and I get it that these guys are going to, you know, they want to get their money, and there's a lot of really good players that deserve it. But at the same time, you have to put, in my opinion, you have to allocate your resources, the majority of your resources, to your big stuff. But you still, like, that's what Florida was able to do. Like, if you look at the contracts that the Panthers have, and I don't have it in front of me, but they have a lot of guys that are on lower end contracts that contribute. And
Bennett's
that's really
been
what
paid
it comes
4.5. Like Lusteranen's making 4-ish.
Right.
Lundell's making 4-ish. The only big ticket guys that they have that, like, I don't even think Verhaeghe's deal is kicked in yet. Same with
Reinhardt's
Reinhardt.
didn't kick in yet.
You know, I mean, Bobrovsky is the biggest contract they have. I mean, Barkov's
That's
on a pretty
10.
reasonable number. Kachuk's on a pretty reasonable number. Can I just read you what Nature's, or what the quote? This is from Frank Saravelli.
Yeah, sure.
So he said, "This guy's a very big self-belief, very confident in his game and what his worth is." That's about Marty Necas. It's like, you're confident in what game? Like how good you are at diving? Like what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah,
I'm very worried about this.
I mean, if you look at Florida, all right, so let me look at some of these players here that they have. Trying to find it. So, okay, so Barkov, he's at $10 million a year. Matthew Kachuk's at 9.5. Sam Reinhart is at 8.63. Carter Verhaeghe's at 7. Those are our top flight guys. All right, 2 at 10, or well, you got whatchamacallit at 10 too. The goalie, Bobrovsky's at 10 as well. But those are your big ticket guys. So Reinhart, Kachuk, Barkov, Verhaeghe. Then you got Anton Lundell, $5 million. Evan Rodriguez, $3 million. And he's been quiet this series too, but I expect him to, start chipping in. Listerinen, $3 million. Boquist, 1.5, and then you got AJ Greer, 850. Gadjevich, 775. Brad Marchand, these guys like Marchand isn't in here because of, I guess, just we don't know how much money he has left that they took. But like Seth Jones is 7 million. But even their top defense, Gustav Forsling, 5.75. Like they managed to pay their right guys the amount of money. Like if you're looking at a Devil's point of view, you got Nico, Timo, Brat, Jack, Luke, Quinn, and then and then you have to put relatively, because not everybody's going to get market value. It's that simple. You cannot, in any sport with a salary cap, pay everybody market value because there's just not enough money. So,
and then, like you said, you could compare it to like a $5 million player. Look at what Siegenthaler was doing with us for $5 million.
That's the point I was about to make. Is you need to find a guy that then produces a surplus value. So, like, we need Gritsuk to have a 20 to 25 goal season. We need surplus. We got surplus value out of Siegenthaler. We got surplus value out of Kovacevic. Jack, while he plays, we get surplus value. Brat, we get surplus value. Nico, we get surplus value. Timo, we don't. No. Mercer, we don't. Lazar, we don't. Yeah. And it's also like how much each of those lines is getting paid. It's what their third line is making $10 million combined, something like that. And they're their most productive line. And it's, being able to roll 4 lines and then have that sort of identity roll through those 4 lines. Like Gadjevich hasn't played, and he was a fucking maniac. Like, do you see that picture of him? It was like, I think I even tweeted about it, where it's like one psycho bumps out of the lineup and a new psycho comes in that they have. It's just like unlocking all these fucking lunatics. Like the look that Evan Rodriguez had on his face when he was getting booed at Edmonton, hilarious. Yep. It's just like these guys are fucking crazy, and I love it.
And I think they're going to win again tonight. So
yeah.
So real quick, is that Jameer? Is that you? Dude I used to work with. He moved down to North Carolina. And he just said, "What's up, Chris? It's Josh." So if that is you, Jameer, hello. Nice to talk to you, buddy. Miss you. Great kid.
So some other news that just came out right before he came on. I don't know if you guys saw, but Connor Hellebuck won the Vezina and the Hart Trophy as well.
He won the Hart?
He did.
Wow.
Wow.
And some Devils were mentioned in the Hart voting. Nico Hischier finished 14th. Jesper Bratt finished tied for 18th with 1 5th-place vote, and Jack Hughes also got 1 5th-place vote. But Nico got a 4th-place vote and a 5th-place vote.
Good for him.
But it was Hellebuyck, Draisaitl, Kucherov, McKinnon, Eichel was actually 5th, which is interesting.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with Hellebuyck getting the Hart.
The best player on the best team during the regular season, you kind of got to put your blinders on for the postseason because it doesn't count.
I know.
It's one of those things. It's just like after the postseason and what happened, you're kind of like, not so sure about that. But the regular season he put together, I get it. I don't know why Jack Hughes got a vote. He didn't even fucking play half the season.
No, he did not.
Speaking of James Nichols, it was probably James Nichols who voted for him. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the awards are what they are. I mean, I kind of feel like, it's the same group of guys that are up for every award every year, the same ones. I'd like to see, I think Jack can get in that category if he stays healthy, but that's the big if, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of Jack in that category, I'd want to, an interesting athletic article. And yes, I still have an athletic subscription. Do not know why. Do not know how. I don't think I'm actually paying for it. I think they give them away for free with basically everything. So I think I somehow have a free subscription somehow. But Dom Lucian has this model that he put together that's like how to build a winner, basically based on all of the kind of primary criteria of like position by position, how teams have won the cup. Like what they have to win those cups. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Steve. Sometimes the digs hit close to home. How does he know us? How does he know us so well? So anyway, this checklist is pretty. It's what you would expect, but he built out his sort of statistical model and. It's a little bit silly to think about, when it's like basically you need fucking 6 good forwards and 6 good forward defensemen, but he kind of categorizes them. So, elite center, the Oilers have Connor McDavid, the Florida has Alexander Barkov. So our comp for that would be Jack Hughes.
No, more so than Nico Hischier, you think? If you were saying elite center, would you put Nico or Jack?
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the flaws I think with the way these models these models work is that they're very offensively statistically skewed. So
Jack
and kind of impact skewed and a lot of shot rates and expected goals type of stuff and Corsi kind of go into them as opposed to the more face-offs and zone exits and zone entries type of shit. And Jack is outrageously elite player. But this kind of gets to something that I talked about before. It's like the gap between McDavid, Barkov, those two are comparable in their eliteness, but they do things a little differently. But the gap, later, Chris. The gap to Jack Hughes, I think, is a decent size. But then on an elite wing, they have Zach Hyman, Matthew Tkachuk, and Jesper Bratt, which I don't necessarily. Bratt's a very good winger, and I get his statistical profile puts him in that category, but I wouldn't put him alongside Matthew Tkachuk and Zach Hyman. That just feels kind of weird to me.
I just got booted off.
Yeah, but that's weird. Are you okay? Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, as long as you guys kept going.
Yeah, we did. So I did the Jack Hughes, so the elite winger, just to let you know, it's Hyman Tkachuk versus Jesper Bratt.
Okay.
Which statistically I can see it, but play style, I think there's a pretty big gap. And this is kind of what I'm getting to. So there's a little bit of a gap between or a decent sized gap between McDavid, Barkov, and Hughes. I think there's a gap between Hyman, Tkachuk, and Bratt.
Agreed.
And then the elite defenseman is Bouchard, Forsling, Dougie, another gap. And then elite goalie, Skinner, Bobrovsky, Markstrom. I think that's kind of a wash between the three. And then a top line center would be Draisaitl, Bennett, and Nico. And there I'm frozen again. So again, a little bit of a gap. But you take those little gaps incrementally, and it goes on and on and on. To second line wing, Luke Hughes, Dawson Mercer, they even throw in top line wing, which I wanted to put a gun in my head. But it's like you take those little incremental differences. The Panthers and Oilers are better at every single position than we are.
Right.
And you add up those sort of incremental differences, and suddenly you realize like just how much better they are.
It's a big difference. Yep.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm gonna duck out and duck back.
And then when you come back, though, Tim, I want you to take a look at Stephen Engel's question because I think that's more geared for you. So when you get to it, I'd like you to answer that. But go ahead, bounce out.
All right. It's Cam's.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though, isn't it, though, Bob? Like we are so far away from that. Like
Yes.
it's going to take a while to get where we like to go. That's the frustrating part, you know. I mean, because you can't fix it with one or two players, and it's like the guys that are just guys like McDavid and Barkov. They're on a different fucking planet.
Well, you see, the thing is just the way that Tim can take that all these little pieces in aggregate, say that that's how far we are behind. That's the only way to kind of fix this because Jack's not going to wake up tomorrow and bridge that gap between McDavid, right? And all the, and Brat's not going to do that against Kachuk and that sort of thing. So we have to find it in many areas, a little bit better in so many areas because you're not getting tit for tat on some of those top tier players, even though we've got a couple of, superstars, quote unquote. There is that gap. So yeah, they have to really find a way to get all the right players. It's not as easy as it sounds. We've got a core that should be able to work.
Yeah, but you have to build it more like the Panthers because you just can't. Nobody can copy Edmonton's, plan because it's Connor McDavid. Like there's one Connor McDavid. You have him. You have the best player possibly to ever play the game. Huge advantage. So you have to build it because like I would put like more like Hischier and Barkov, like kind of a similar game, right? They're both the defensive forwards. They're both great at faceoffs. They can both play both sides of the puck. So like, yeah, okay, I could put Hischier with Barkov, when you look at Florida, Jack is, comparable to maybe Reinhart on that team, or something like that, the goal scorer. But it's everybody else. Like you said, it doesn't matter if those guys don't show up for a couple of games because everybody else does. And again, biggest weakness last year was if it wasn't for a lot of the year, Jack and Nico scoring goals, we weren't scoring goals.
Yeah, and when you look at then competitively Barkov versus Connor, Barkov can kind of nullify Connor McDavid.
A little
and
bit.
Then Barkov could easily nullify Jack Hughes. But then we would need 3C Dawson Mercer.
Yeah.
To actually fucking do something as opposed to like fail zone exit. And to get to answer Engel's question, to be honest, I've heard very good things about Squires and particularly his development.
It's Billy Squires,
Cam Squires.
Stroke me, stroke. Not that one.
No, not that one.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
But I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Like, I don't know what he skates like. I don't know what he profiles like. I think he's got good size. I've heard good things about him. So I'll have to see what he looks like at prospect camp. But, I don't want to fall into this trap of overvaluing our prospects because how many was a second round pick. So, like, there's a reason he was a second round pick. I think Gritsuk was his progress is very good, but I'm not counting on anything from him until he actually shows us something. I've seen people penciling him in next to Jack, and I think that's a mistake to kind of make that assumption.
That's a mistake.
And then I kind of agree with Steve is I think the order that I put the guys that we need to get rid of in are, it's Palat and then Hala and then Hamilton and then maybe Mercer. Like we've talked about with Mercer, like, if he could slot in on a third wing and have that role and that's his role and that's what he's going to do, I think that'll go a long way for him. I think, moving him up and down and all around the lineup has actually had a pretty detrimental effect on his development. Mm-hmm. But, it's $4 million that we could use. I talked about my concerns about moving Dougie now and, the production that we got from our D-core last year was awful. We were bottom 5 in the league. You take Seamus Casey out of that, who had outrageous production in his limited time. We were bottom 3 in the league. So you take Dougie out of a bottom 3 producing offensive team or offensive decor. Like that's problematic. So I see a world where Dougie's still around, but I think Holla and Mercer are the ones that go, and I think Palat sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. Like yes, I agree with Steven Angle. Most Devil fans are those guys. I would prefer them not being on the team, but at the same time, like we've said, last show for the last month or so, we have no idea what Tom Fitzgerald's going to do.
None.
So yeah, I mean, I could see a world where every one of those is gone. I could also see a world where every one of those guys is still on the team. So I have no idea what his game plan is. So it's going to be kind of fun and frustrating to wait and see, especially when you start seeing like the Rangers already making moves and stuff. Like, all right, let's do this, or who do you have your eyes on in free agency if you're not making any trades right now? Like, that's what I'm so curious about. Yeah. So 2 weeks, everything's just going to blow up, and Tim left again. But when he comes back, Bob, we're going to play our new game. Okay. This could very well be an absolute shit show, but we're going to attempt it. Okay. So when Tim comes back at some point, there he is. All right. All right, Tim. You done?
I just got booted off.
Oh, when's my
turn?
Did
it say something went wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing happened to me.
Do a show today that they mentioned they use StreamYard and said the same thing, that they were having problems with StreamYard.
All right, so
I heard that you get kicked off based on lack of popularity, and it goes around the wheel.
I'm surprised that we can even log on.
I mean, if it's based on lack of popularity, why am I not just getting kicked off left and right?
That's what I've
been told that my opinions are and my takes are fucking awful, and I should shut the fuck up more.
Who told you that?
Yeah.
Christ, carry
who said that? That's not nice.
Don't worry about it. Yeah,
baseball fans.
Go fuck himself.
We're gonna play a new game, and this is one where your opinions are probably going to piss people off, because here's the thing: this is not necessarily our opinions. What we are going to do is kind of a around the horn, point counterpoint kind of game, except we're calling it. You guys ready? Devil's Advocate. Because it's the devil. So anyway, I'm going to ask a question.
Zone nicotine, by the way, Chris.
Nice.
That's what's in my mouth. It's not a dick.
I wasn't listening. So okay, so Jesus, dude. Who's in my mouth? Anyway, so in this game, I'm going to just throw a take, opinion, and just shit that we've heard aggregated at roundabout in Devil's Sphere. And I'm going to ask Bobby to defend or to counter the point, and Tim to argue for or against it. And we're going to go, and we're going to see how it goes. So the first question that I'm going to ask is, the Devils should extend Jacob Markstrom before the start of training camp. Bob, tell us why we should sign him an extension before the start of training camp. And Tim, you tell us why that's a bad idea. So, Bobby, go ahead.
Oh, you absolutely have to. It's security. The guy can get the job done. He's not showing any signs of slowing down. He's got at least a couple more years on him. Makes everybody happy. Give him 2 more years on top of what we got. That's 3 years. Gives our kids plenty of time to develop. Tim, whatever you say is going to be wrong, so you might want to sit there quiet. I'm not sure.
That is the fucking dumbest thing I've heard all fucking day. Holy shit, man.
Why?
No. Why before training camp?
Yes.
No. We trust. When you have time, you use it. Argument over. I win.
So that's all you're saying is you're not against extending him, Tim. You're just extending him early.
I made what's called a semantic argument. I made it to the New Jersey State debate finals. Came in last, but that's not here.
So are you saying?
I'm saying we do not need to extend him before training camp. Season play out. Let's see how it goes. And if
are you against extending him, period, or no?
I am not against extending him, period. I'm saying we don't need to do it before training camp.
Well, I think you're my rebuttal, right? I think that you're going to get him for a little bit less, and every dollar's starting to count with the way this cap's going up. We got a lot of pieces we need to fill. Do it now, get it done, and then you're settled, and then you worry about the rest of the money.
Yeah, but he's old.
Okay. All right. I like this.
You win.
On that one, I'm going to actually give you guys a tie because I agree with what Bob's saying.
I'd like to debate that.
I
Wait,
agree
how are we
that
giving
Bobby,
out points if that's a tie? This is bullshit. I hate this game. Fucking
all right,
rigged.
then I'm going to say that in my opinion, I would probably lean a little bit more on what Tim said. If you got the time, take the time. So I'll give that one to Tim.
Damn.
The second one, we're still going to stay in goaltenders. This is the question.
Okay.
And Tim, you're going to argue for this, and Bobby, you're going to argue against it. If Jake Allen signs an extension, like we all know he wants to, he has come out and said he would like to stay in New Jersey. He's a UFA. But if Fitz signed him for an extension, and we know next year going into at least the 25-26 season, it's going to be Markstrom and Allen, then Nico Dawes needs to be put on the trade block, and we should try and get something for his value if we are not going to bring him into the backup role this year. Tim, tell me why Nico Dawes needs to go if Allen is back.
It's not that he needs to go, but we would have to trade him because he would have to go through waivers. He has a 1-year deal coming into next year. So he would absolutely get claimed on waivers. So if that is what we're going to do, sign Allen to be the backup, then Dawes absolutely will have value in a trade. Send him to Florida to be Bobrovsky's heir apparent, and we'll take Sam Bennett off your hands.
But Vitek Vanacek's about to raise the Stanley Cup.
Oh, God.
Bob, why is that a bad idea?
It's dog shit. I don't even know what he's talking about. This guy just goes on record saying how Markstrom's too old. Now he wants 2 40-year-olds. Our average age is freaking 80 in goal. That's ridiculous. It's Dawes' turn. He needs some backup time to become a goaltender. Get rid of Allen. Screw you. Thanks, buddy. You did your job. I'm done.
I thought the argument was we are signing Allen, then we have to trade Dawes. I thought it was what we do with Dawes, not what we do with Allen.
Yes,
I'm not advocating for re-signing Allen.
Right, so
I'm advocating for having to trade Dawes.
Even though Allen
your argument is a straw man.
Yeah, why? If Allen is here, why should we keep
Dawes?
Your argument is that we need to get rid of, or which one is it?
No, I'm keeping. He got rid of
keeping. Why are we keeping?
I mean, he's kicking. Like what's
because
happening?
He's 84 years old. He's going to break a hip, and we need another goalie to play some games. You can't rely on Allen this year. Forget it. He's too old. You got to keep Dawes in the fold. He doesn't cost anything.
Okay. So you're saying no matter what, Dawes needs to be the backup.
That's it. That's what you're making me say. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm
not sure how this is going yet, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's fun. I like being animated like this, and a little homage to Around the Horn, which just got taken out there. That was my. And
Tony apparently has no idea why. He keeps saying, "I don't know why they canceled me. I don't know why."
Well, I mean, Around the Horn hasn't come to Lithuania yet, has it?
It's true.
He's
Tony
still
will
watching
for it soon.
Yeah, he's still watching Golden Girls originals.
All right.
Next week, the premiere of Gilligan's Island.
Tony's gonna be like, guys, did you hear about those 5 dudes that the ship got lost? And yeah,
what was there's a hot chick.
Remember Galaxy Quest? Haven't you ever watched Gilligan Island? Oh, those poor people stuck on the island. All right. If Connor McDavid fails to win a Stanley Cup in this time or next year, he absolutely needs to leave Edmonton and go try to find a team that can win a Stanley Cup, because it's never going to happen in Edmonton if it doesn't happen the next 2 years. Bobby, tell me why he needs to go someplace else, because Edmonton isn't going to do it. And Tim, you argue why Edmonton's the spot, and no matter what, Connor McDavid is going to be an Oiler for life. So, Bobby, go ahead.
No, listen, the Oilers are cursed. They're never winning again after all that shit Gretzky pulled and opening up his goddamn mouth, whatever. They got their little run. It's over. If this guy wants to win a cup, he's got to come east. I know a team in red and black that would love to have him. We'll even
Hurricanes?
slide Jack down a couple. Sure, anybody. It doesn't matter because he's not winning the cup out there. They're showing it again this year. Always a bridesmaid, never the bride, blah, blah, blah. They're done. Move on, Connor. You deserve it.
Okay. That is absolute loser fucking attitude behavior. You're the best player in the fucking world. You decide when you win the cup. You have your best buddy, Leon. You are slightly autistic, and you can't leave Edmonton. You have a heated driveway in your house. You have a sick hot tub that you invite all your buddies over to. You could probably take 20% equity in the Oilers. You lead the Edmonton Oilers to the Stanley Cup. You become a Canadian hero. Don't go to Toronto. Don't go to New Jersey. That place sucks. You ever been to New Jersey? Fucking sucks. Fuck that place. Stay at Edmonton, Connor.
Do you think like the last 2 years he's gone down to Florida for the final and just like, yeah, I guess I could kind of maybe get used to.
He's like, this is pretty nice. He's like, you drive around on golf carts all day?
So
I did see a funny interview with him once about there's like 20 feet of snow or something in Edmonton. And a reporter was like, how long did it take you to shovel out of your driveway this morning, Connor? And he was like, I have a heated driveway. I think that's awesome. Nice. That's pretty sick. But his house is kind of scary looking. Like, have you ever seen it?
I've seen pictures of the inside of it.
Yeah, it's very kind of what's the word?
Modern.
It's like Ferris Bueller's. Like, it's very cold and very dark, and you're not allowed to touch anything.
Exactly.
His personality.
yeah, exactly. There's like nothing there. He's afraid to catch up. Like, this guy's weird. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's not leaving Edmonton.
I'm agreeing with Bobby on that one. I think that if they don't do it in the next 2 years, I would not be shocked if McDavid starts getting a wandering eye. I'm just saying, if they can't do it in the next 2 years, they're not going to do it in Edmonton.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, I don't know what that makes our score. I think it's like 1-1-1 or something.
1-1-1. All right, 2 more to go.
That's a win. Two more.
I think that was the shootout loss.
Tom Fitzgerald should dangle Jesper Bratt as the number 1 trade candidate to try and get Quinn Hughes to New Jersey. Jesper Bratt should be the main person involved in the trade the other way. Tim, tell me why that we should move on from Bratt, use Bratt as our biggest chip to get Quinn Hughes. And Bobby, you argue why not?
I don't want to argue this side.
Too bad.
Jesper Bratt would be the best 1-for-1 offer to send to Vancouver and be like, we want Quinn. Here is a very underpaid, valuable superstar in this league. He can play next to Elias Peterson, have a little Swedish connection. They'd be electric together, and they'd put Vancouver back on the map. Vancouver wouldn't need to rebuild with that. That's it. 1-for-1.
Lunacy. It doesn't even make any sense, dude. We picked this guy from nowhere. He's worth every penny. He's worth more based on the production he puts out there. Who's going to play with Jack? We finally got that figured out. Don't even move him. Don't ever move him. I don't want Quinn. This was a real hard one. I don't like this one.
I don't like this one.
I don't like this one at all.
Agreement that we would pack Jesper Bratt's bags if it was for Quinn Hughes.
Drive his ass to the fucking airport.
Kick your ass so hard.
All right. That's another tie.
Yeah, hope you like Vancouver, buddy.
Ooh, this is the big one.
I will say, though, and we've said this before, if Vancouver is getting rid of Quinn, I don't think Bratt is what would be the piece to go the other way. I think they would ask for younger, like, volume pieces in youth, like a Nemec, Mercer, Casey, picks, prospects, Lenny, Gritsuk, that type of, 4 to 5 kind of volume younger pieces to plug in. And do consider, like, Vancouver just gave up JT Miller, who sort of forced his way out, and they didn't really like New York. The Rangers gave up Mancini and the concussion case kid, and then a couple of picks. Heedle,
yeah.
For JT Miller, who was a 100-point guy in Vancouver. So, like, I realize Quinn is the straw that stirs the drink there, but it's like, if they gave up Miller for like a pretty limited package, I think we could get something in that realm for Quinn, especially with only a year or two left on his deal.
Yeah, I would definitely do it, even with Jesper Bratt in the fold. All right, this is the last one.
Pack your shit, Jesper.
If the Devils go into the playoffs next year and Jack Hughes is injured again and he cannot play in these playoffs, Tom Fitzgerald absolutely needs to trade him next year and his balsa wood bones for some actual players that can stay healthy. Tim, you're arguing for this. Bobby, you're arguing against this.
Okay,
Tim,
thank God.
Tom Fitzgerald has to trade Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes if he cannot stay healthy in the 25-26 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, like, it would be insane to say no. Like, I don't see how you could continue year after year to be like, this is the year he's going to stay healthy. This is the year he's going to stay healthy. Honestly, Jack, you should fucking retire and go drive boats around Lake Michigan as like a water taxi guy, and not like risk his arms. Like he's gonna be like Bert Blyleven after this. No, get rid of him. Fuck him. You can't stay healthy. Stop being a pussy. You're done.
Okay, literally, of all the insane things you said today, this is the absolute worst, you puppet. There's no way in hell that you ever get rid of Jack Hughes. He's a top 5 player in this league. He had a fluke injury or 5. That doesn't make him a glass shoulder.
This is awesome. I love it. All right. Yeah,
embrace debate.
Do you think that they'll? Hello, Marcy. Are you gonna say hello to everybody? My cat's saying hi. Do you think though, like we as Devil fans would ever get frustrated enough if these injuries actually do keep happening over the course of years, where we're actually at some point like we just can't keep the fucking kid?
I mean,
I'm almost there now.
It really doesn't do us any good if he's not on the ice.
Yeah, like our team is structurally built, like that article that I was just quoting. Our team is structurally built with Jack Hughes to be at the lead of our offense, and if he's constantly not there, it's the same argument for getting rid of Dougie. Like I know I was just advocating to keep him, but like he does us no good constantly being hurt. No good. That does not help. Like the replacement level player that can be healthy in a healthy body is far more valuable than someone that just can't stay healthy. And honestly, if he hurts a shoulder again, like I'm actually not like totally kidding. Like it's like, buddy, like you just can't handle the rigors of the NHL. Like,
I feel the same way. I'm in 100% agreement with you. Like if next year we're going through and it's Jack Hughes stat line game played 58, like dude. Yeah. We can't keep doing this because at some point, like, because there's going to be teams that are going to love to take him.
Absolutely, and then he's going to play 82 games a year for someone else for.
But think about the haul. Think about the haul you could possibly get for a person like Jack Hughes. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah,
and Chris D is
Zach Wheeler.
Well,
Luke's also got the fucking shoulder thing, like.
Yeah, we need to drop the other 2
confidence in Luke staying healthier, just because he's just bigger, and wider. I don't know if you saw, there's a video. Nason, Pesci, and I think Mercer were at a UFC event at Prudential Center, which is pretty cool to see the 3 of them are still sticking around in New Jersey for the summer.
Yeah, that's odd.
But they're like, who would be good UFC fighter? And couple guys, I think Nason was like, Brat would be great, and Pesci was like, she said something like, I think Luke would be good because he's got the range, but he's really weak. So I don't know if he could. I was like, yikes! Don't say that. Like, you're talking about your partner. But I think Luke has the frame to fill out and not have it be as much of a problem. And keep in mind, Jack hurts himself, so it's more play style than anything. Like he does a very good job of actually being kind of squirrely and avoiding getting pounded. Like I only really seen him get killed like once, and that was Pacioretty fucking popped him.
That's right.
Against Toronto. Other than that, like he literally is because he's so sloppy. Like he's the best worst skater I've ever seen in my life. Like he's so good.
All skaters like him are that way, They're constantly losing edges, and like we said it right. They're thinking 10 steps ahead before they,
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to.
And you can see it early in games when Jack is off a little bit. He's losing the puck. Yep. He's trying to hold on to it too much and coughing it up at the blue line. You're like, oh, we're in for one.
If I had one, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just one last on Jack. There's a video today of him. There is a new Bauer line of equipment, and he's back on the ice and he's doing stick handling drills. So he's out of shoulder recovery. He's back on the ice. Hopefully, he's hitting the gym. Eat some steak.
My only other issue with Jack Hughes, other than the fact that he can't stay healthy, is that when the team isn't going necessarily in the right direction during a game. He tries to do too much. And that's something I wish that he needs to just kind of learn to kind of let the game kind of come to him a little bit more, trust a little bit more in the guys around you. You don't have to do everything yourself. And I feel like that when that happens, exactly turns into what you're talking about, right? Where he's trying to just get through the zone by himself, where he's just trying everything on his own because, hey, we need 2 goals and we have to win this game. But there's 18 other dudes out there that can help too. And I feel like I think he'll learn that. And I think
it's
also
a great quality that you want in players to feel like they can do that and put on your back. But yeah, I know what you're talking about because you'll watch in certain circumstances. And it's almost like, call back to the beginning, he's on his own tilt in a way where he keeps trying, but he keeps missing it or losing the puck because he's just going too fast. And the next time he'll try even harder because it didn't, and it's progressively getting his head to make it happen. But I wouldn't take that away from him.
Yeah, Chris made a good point that McDavid was a little bit like that too, and it's a learning curve for him being an age and kind of learning how to play in it. But also, like you said, there are 18 other guys. Honestly, on the Devils, there were like 3 other guys.
Yeah,
that, like you think he's like, he's Nate Bastian's on his wing, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to give it to Bastian. That'll fucking help.
And the fact that that actually freaking happened. Like, that's the crazy part.
Right.
Like,
it's like when guys try to pass to me in beer league, I'm just like, don't do that. That's a bad idea.
When Keefe is putting the lineup together at that point, you just like, I mean, really? I'm putting Nate freaking Bastian with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. What are we? I mean, how bad are things that Bastian can play on that line?
Ooh, Master Chef Junior's on.
I'm curious where Bastian's going to end up.
That's a good question.
I have a feeling he's going to end up on the island,
sitting outside of a jail cell, singing to his buddy.
Maybe he'll be hanging out in front of Sing Sing with a boombox and some Peter Gabriel playing. I miss you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
Motor Mike.
Honestly, there's a world where Bastian comes back to the Devils too.
No, that ain't happening. Not my fucking world.
There is a world.
There is a world where that happens.
I honestly could see. I mean, I could see a world where maybe that happened. Then Tom Fitzgerald just didn't even fucking try. Like, seriously, if you bring back Nate Bastian, like, there are so many. We just named a whole bunch of guys that are in our system that would do better than Nate Bastian. Like, there is no reason to have Nate Bastian back on this team.
Yeah, well, all right. So, devil's advocate. Bastian did have very good defensive metrics and was very good defensively. He's an absolute black hole offensively. However, our team was so good defensively because we had very good defensive forwards as well. So that is a thing that coaches value, and I can see it happening. I hope.
But you can get that from other players that can actually do something offensively.
I agree. So, if Nate Bastian comes back, I am moving to North Carolina and I am fucking sails up. I'm going to be a Pirate.
If Bastian comes back, I'm buying my Kreider jersey and moving out to Orange County, California.
Oh yeah,
I am rocking the old Ducks.
I'm buying my Jesper Bratt Vancouver Canucks jersey.
Nice. Ooh, maybe I'll get one of those. Those are nice. Anything else that you boys want to add on before we head out and go watch some of this game?
No, that's pretty much it. It's kind of poking the Devils, like, fucking do something, guys. Like, I don't know if he's waiting, like, all the trade protection that, like, Hamilton and Holla and Palat had, the full trade protection changes on July 1st. Right. So Fitz will have a little bit more to work with on July 1st. So we may or may not need to be patient. And relative to Kreider, and I realize he was able to unload Gaudreau and unload Trouba with trade protection, but that kind of lessens the leverage that you have over some of these players to be able to send them where they want to be able to go. So I don't know, just a small thing. Kreider had a 15-team no trade list. Even though Anaheim was on it, he was able to talk him into it. And I think Trouba being there really sold him. Apparently Frank Vetrano had a whole PowerPoint presentation on why Anaheim's a great place to go.
I mean, it's Southern California, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
And if I would, who would want to play there? You kidding me? And it sounds terrible. Right on the beach, beautiful weather.
I can honestly, I could see the sales pitch for Kreider actually having a bit of a bounce back season. Like
I think
his back was
absolutely.
fucked up all season. Anaheim's power play was dog shit last year, so he'll be a good net front guy there. You know,
Anaheim's going to be good next year.
I think so too. They've Minchikov, Lacombe, Zegras is kind of slowly on the way back up. McTavish, Terry, like they have a good.
And Dostal's a heck of a goalie.
Dostal's
and they have Joel Quenneville. Would say what you want about him on a personal level, but he's a good hockey coach.
And they'll have Mitch Marner on July 1st.
Yeah, they probably will. How crazy would it be though if like July 1st rolls around and Tom Fitzgerald just goes full fucking nuclear mode, and like all the guys that we're talking about are gone, and he just brings in a whole fucking new team? Like, would that just like that would blow my freaking mind? And it would give us so much shit to talk about over the summer.
I like the guys that are on our team. I think they can win with them, but like if some of them have to get shipped off, if it's a good deal and we get objectively better, I'm for it. Like I want the Devils to win.
Yeah, your allegiance to any particular player will quickly go away when you see that cup go in.
Yeah, like exactly.
I mean,
like
you forget.
I love Jesper Bratt. I think Jesper Bratt's an incredible hockey player. But if he lands us Quinn Hughes, see you later, Jesper. Sorry.
I'm with you.
Like it has to, that's like Florida did with Huberdeau to Kachuk. It's like that's what's got to happen.
For 3 years, Bobby has been saying on this show, the Devils are not going to win a cup unless they actually make a huge. You hear how I said that? It's really weird. Yeah, I meant to say big and huge kind of came out. A very big hockey trade. Like we can't just keep accumulating these, small, fast guys or whatever on the back end and not actually, when it's not working, you have to go out there and actually move. Because it was obvious 2 years, right? For 2 years that the chemistry was off. Certain guys, weren't living up to their value.
For those thinking that maybe that was supposed to be kind of the Timo transaction, that was different. That was a rental player. That was signed. That was an end of the year. That's not what I'm talking about. He was and should be better than what he's projecting as right now. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, 2 terms, 2 different players, swapping cities, different identities, just like Kachuk, like you said. Yeah, I don't know who it is, but yeah, I just feel like there's something missing about this team.
I think it's the complementary pieces, and I think that I think this, the core forwards, right? And that change, big hockey trade, that could be Dougie moving out. Like, I think Dougie qualifies as like a core piece moving out. Like I said, like, I really don't think we should move on from Brad or Jack or Nico or Timo or Luke. But I think I only put 3 guys in the hands off list, and that's Nico, Jack, and Luke.
And that's it.
I would
that's
agree.
it. Yeah. Well,
everything should be on the table to make the team better. Like that's
the thing that makes me nervous is that I don't know if Tom Fitzgerald has the balls to actually go ahead and pull off something big. And we'll see this summer. We'll see in a couple of weeks. Free agency kicks around July 1st. It's going to be a fun week into free agency. And it's crazy because like we did have our eyes on a few guys and started hearing the rumblings around this time last year. Brett Pesci's coming to New Jersey. We started hearing that. Like, there's nothing. There's nothing. Like, we have no freaking clue what's happening. And I'm nervous about that.
There's an interesting report that came out today from Pierre LeBrun, that it's basically like
LeBron James?
Yeah, he's a huge hockey analyst. That basically he was like, nobody's selling right now. Every single team he's talking to wants to get better. The only team that really might be selling is Pittsburgh. And that then makes whatever Pittsburgh's trying to sell more valuable, like Raquel or Rust.
Which is why you have to go and try and pillage these teams that are up against the cap that have no movement, that they can't do shit. That's when you have to go and offer whatever to Dallas, to Colorado. You got to go get Charlie Coyle. You got to, hey, if Jason Robertson is possible, then you have to do whatever you can and exhaust that and see if it's possible. And those are the teams you're going to have to probably try and pull from, where you can probably get some value off of some guys. You might be taking a little bigger contract, but you throw a guy like Dawson Mercer to Dallas. It's a $4 million deal, but maybe they feel he can give us a little bit of what we're losing with a guy like Robertson or something like that. So that's where I think Fitz is going to have to play the game a little bit more than just calling UFAs and saying, hey, want to come play in Jersey? Well, I'll sign you now, and then I'll give you a 20-year extension for as ever much money as you want, and we'll never, ever trade you, ever. Come on to Jersey. That's the shit that I don't want.
And Dallas needs a lot of help on the right side of the blue line. So it's like Nemec, Mercer for Marchman and Robertson.
Okay. Come to New Jersey, where our expectations are below expectations.
It's a good one, Bob. I like it. I like that. It should be our motto. All right, we're going to go watch the hockey game because we're only going to get a few more of these left. I'm guessing maybe 2 more left. That's it. I think this thing's done in 5.
Could be able to see what happens tonight. Wish me luck on my beer league game tonight. It starts.
Good luck on your beer league game tonight. I have one quick complaint before I go. I don't want hockey on ESPN ever. Ever. I'm okay with when they do their games. Okay, so if you're gonna throw the games on ESPN Plus, and I get Butcher and Levy or whoever, and PK, I'm okay. Yeah. But if I'm flipping through my channels, and I get on First Take or whatever fucking show, and Stephen A. Smith is talking about Sam Bennett, I want to throw a brick through my fucking television. This dude has no idea anything about hockey. I barely knows anything about any other sport, but hockey is so that's just I hate these guys. It makes me angry when they talk.
What is it about Stephen A. Smith you don't like, Chris? Specifically,
everything.
Be specific.
It has nothing to do with the fact that he's a Spike Lee wannabe. That's not why I hate him. I hate that he's constantly yelling all the time, dude.
We're just talking about like that Around the Horn show, right? Around the Horn and PTI and the old Sports Center. Those were that was when ESPN was valuable. Now everything is former athletes and these yellers that just yell over each other, and that's like Stephen A. Smith and who's the other fucking guy, the little redheaded guy?
On First Take, I don't know. It doesn't matter. And most of them know nothing. They just talk the same stupid talking point that somebody may have put on Twitter or whatever, and none of it makes any. And what happened to the sports, that whole sports world is just, it's garbage now. I get 99. I like XM. I'm be honest with you, for football or hockey. I listen to the NFL channel. I listen to the NHL channel. I don't listen to anything else because I just think they're all a bunch of losers that know nothing. That's all I'm saying. Kind of like us. All right.
Yeah, but we fake really well.
That's true. Bobby, final score tonight. Go.
4-2 Edmonton.
Edmonton, 4-2. What do you got, Tim?
3-1 Edmonton.
All right. I'm going to go overtime, 3-2 Florida. All right. Guys, wherever you're listening to us, a 5-star review, positive comment helps a little podcast that could. And please subscribe and hit that button and the alert bells and whatever other podcaster tells you to do. We really appreciate it. I watch all these different podcasts and all these people you hit that subscription bell now. We're looking to get over 80,000 subs by the end of the month, or 100,000 subs. We're trying to get 100. So if we can get 100, we would really appreciate it. Anyway. For Tim and Bob.
Steven, Chris, thank you guys for popping in and saying hi. We appreciate it.
Always fun. And because we don't tell people that we're going live anymore, we're just doing it. So the fact that anybody hops on is pretty cool. So thank you guys. And we're the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you. Peace out.
Eat a dick, Ballycat.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.